Well, Emyr Humphreys, of course. I mean, probably my favourite Welsh writer of fiction, although I haven't read most of his work, which is interesting. I've only read three or four of his books. But they're books I return to, they're books that I dip into, books that I have a sort of ongoing relationship with, like I do with the work of writers who mean a great deal to me, like Saul Bellow and Graham Greene. And Humphreys, of course, for a while at least, could have been one of the most influential writers around. Graham Greene was a great champion of his work in the 1930s, 1940s. Greene introduced him to the London literary elite, really. But Humphreys was never going to leave his Wales, which was in its Mon. He's never going to leave those communities and write about whatever else London wanted him to write about. Not that I'm saying I have any knowledge of him being pressured to do that, but I'd imagine that conversation would have happened at some point, if not continuously through his early and mid stage of his career. A Toy Epic, I think, is one of the most significant novels of Wales, probably my favourite. I love it for its experimentalism, for its fearlessness, for its faith in the Welsh reader. Outside the House of Baal is probably a greater novel, but doesn't quite have it the emotion, the sort of connection, the spiritual connection, the emotional connection, whatever, that A Toy Epic has with me. I met Emyr Humphreys once. I was a sixth former, and our teacher put a panel together to interview him on stage, and I was one of six. And I remember him being what everybody said, really, that he was just a really lovely, generous, gentle old man, which he was then, when he was probably in his 70s, and he lived till he was 100, 101, something like that. But a truly great writer in both languages, and a poet and an essayist. But really, I think one of the towering figures of Welsh literature, and also somebody I think feels like he sort of stood slightly outside of the clique of the literati of Wales of the 20th century. But, you know, dominated by people like Gwyn Jones and Glyn Jones and Roland Mathias and Raymond Garlick, and later on Di Smith and Peter Finch and Mike Stevens and all those people. But still a wonderful writer, and forever to be as well. His vast body of work will undoubtedly live on and be revisited and rediscovered, at least if I've got anything to do with it.